What's going on, Paisanos? V here, and today I'm coming at you guys with my updated Shaddoll Invoked deck list. People have been asking me about doing combos. I'll probably go over some in this video. It's a little bit harder to do, and I'll explain why later on, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over my main sign extra and talk about my changes and why I decided to make the changes. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, like button, and comment down below. So for the main deck, we got 3 Alistair the Invoker, 3 Artifact Lancer, and 3 Phantasm. Nothing really has changed from this. I think I'm sorry, wait. And 3 Ash Blossom Joy Spring. So our hand shop lineup technically is 9. Realistically is 6. And I like this way. This way you can brick at times, and I feel like Phantasmic can help you on brick. Lancia obviously being better than Nibiru, and the reason why I like Lancia over Nibiru, I do side Nibiru, but the reason why I like Lancia over Nibiru is simply because Lancia is better against more decks, and against decks like Eldritch, which can be a problem for this deck. If you Lancia them, that stops them from using the Eldritch traps, putting them back and resetting them. So then following turn, then you could go aerial, you could punish them for, obviously trying to do the good thing, and I really do like that about Lancia. And Ash Blossom and Joy Spring is more or less the generic cantrip of the format. Then we have for Shaddoll monsters 1 dragon, 1 aerial, and 1 beast. So 1-on-1 lineup, very simple. For other Shaddolls, we have 2 hedgehog, 2 squamata, and 2 Wendy. And this is our Shaddoll engine. That's our Alistair right there, and our hand trap engine. Very simplified, but very efficient. And that's the way I like this deck to be. For our traps, we have 1 Shaddoll Schism and 1 Shaddoll Incarnation. I'll show you guys how to work this card later on in the video. But then we go to our spells, and we're going to have 3 Magical Meltdown, 3 Super Polymerization, 3 Shaddoll Fusion, 2 L Shaddoll Fusion. I tested the 3rd one out, and I didn't like it at all. I like 2 L Shaddoll Fusion infinitely better, so that's what we have right here. And then we have double Invocation. And then for our 1-ups, we're going to have 1 Terraforming, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Upstart Goblin, and 1 Call by the Grave. These ones are perfect. The rotating card out is always going to be Upstart Goblin. I always side it out. This used to be Instant Fusion. You saw my build from this past weekend at the Extravaganza where I got 7th placed. I did run Instant Fusion. I barely saw Instant Fusion, but I really do like Upstart Goblin a lot more. It makes a 40-card deck, 39 cards, adds more consistency, also allows you to side out very easily. And I really do like that about this card a lot. So, once again, that's our Shaddoll engine. The deck is 40 cards. Our Shaddoll deck is 40 cards. Going on to the, we'll do the extra deck. Alright, so moving on to the extra deck, we have 2 constructs. If I always say, and I still say, if I had a 16 slot, it would probably be a 3rd construct, but 2 I think is very perfect. 2 App Clone, this card's insane, obviously. Double Winda, and that's our Shaddoll engine. For our Invoked engine, we have 1 Mechaba. If we had a 17 slot, it would be a 2nd Mechaba. 1 Raging, which I think is still important. You gotta respect the burn up matchup. Also, Raging's really good for allowing you to set your Shadolls face down, which does come up because Wendy's a wind. 1 Orgoides, which is insane. This card absolutely... I think people forget about Orgoides until it's too late. And that's something that makes this card absolutely broken. 1 Purgatria, because this card, once again, allows you to just end the game. Also, Ash Blossom Joy Spring is your fire target. And 1 Caliga. So Caliga's a new addition. We took out Predator Plan Draxopelia. That was what Caliga is, and I like that a lot. I'll explain why I took out Draxopelia in a second, but Caliga itself is just phenomenal. This card allows you, so if you know you can't kill your opponent, but you don't want your opponent trying to come back and kill you or gain resources, Caliga with an Alistair in hand is going to, at the very least, buy you 1 turn. And yeah, it makes this card really important. I think a lot of people, that are playing Shaddoll Invoked might have forgotten about that. I know I have. And I do like the fact that this card, in a situation in which you can't do anything but go into an invoked monster, I think Caliga is the best invoked monster to go into. If you open your turn, you can only go into 1 invoked monster. A lot of people like to go into Mechaba, but if your opponent has a good amount of cards in their hand, they're just going to go walk right through you. They're going to bait the negate and smoke you that turn. So going to Caliga kind of slows the game state down tremendously and allows you to play. Now, once again, this is obviously different when you play a Shaddoll Mirror match, but against a lot of other decks in the meta, I think Caliga is a phenomenal card. I used it against Dragonlink the other day, and basically he just couldn't do much, and I really do like that a lot. Once again, it's all about slowing the game state down and winning the resource battle with this deck. Then we have a Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. I just never took it out, still the same one. And Predator Plant Verdant Anaconda. And the reason why I don't run Draxapelia anymore, even though I used to, is because Verdant Anaconda's first effect is to make one monster on your opponent's side feel dark. So what you do is you Anaconda, you send Sewer Poly, you make your opponent's monster dark first. Then you Anaconda's other effect, you send Sewer Poly, and then you go into Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. So you utilize that monster. So that's why that's a big deal. And of course, we have one Gravity Controller and one matches Artemis, the matches Moon Maiden. Some people like to run the Salamangreat Almirage. They run that package, and then from there they go into the Link 1 light guy. I always forget his name. Secure Garner. They like to do that play. I don't, because extract's already insanely tight, and I just don't want to add any more things to really make the extract just even worse than what it is. It's like I said, I would love to have multiple extract monsters in here. Another construct, another definitely a second mecha, but that'd be huge. Unfortunately, we don't, so we gotta play 15, and that's the exact line that we have. Okay, for the side deck, we'll go over Dark World No More. Over the side deck, Dark World No More is a card I don't always go into, but against certain matchups, I think you need to. If you're playing against a Dragon Link player, obviously they're gonna want to go first, or else they're gonna have you go Winda. So, I mean, you're going to go Winda, you're going to shut them down. So, they don't want that to happen. They're going to want to go first. Dark World No More is definitely a card you need to put in there. If you play against any Bird Up variants, this is, once again, another card you're going to need to put in there. You just got to respect those kind of matchups, because that can happen. Even though we can play around that a lot, this is definitely something that's heavily needed. Up next, we have Harvey's Featherster and Double Lightning Storms. Just another card, just another way of removing back row. These two were Cosmic Cyclones before, but the way I rationalize putting Lightning Storms over Cosmic Cyclone is that Lightning Storm allows you to blow your opponent's board up. And once again, as I say, in the case of Eldritch, which I always focus on because that is a very hard matchup, if you can Lightning Storm their back row, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to send Aerial, if you can, ideally you're going to want to, and banish their traps, which is going to put them very, 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 very far behind, and immediately give you the resource game. So that's why we play 2 Lightning Storms and 1 Harpies. They basically do the same thing. Lightning Storm gives you a little more, but Harpies has no condition. So, and ideally you want to use to clear the back row. Then we have a playset of Triple Attack as Talents, my favorite card in the game. It's just, you take your opponent's Dragoon and you punish them. And if you don't play this card, or let's say you play this card in game 2, you decide out in game 3, the fear of your opponent running into a Triple Attack as Talent is always there. And that's something that's very unique in this game. Everyone kind of right now plays around a Gamma for the most part. You really can't play around Triple Attack as Talents. It's just almost impossible. So I like this card. I like the fact that it makes your opponent think more, and they should respect this card. Because if they're playing something like a Dragoon, they have to respect this card or they're going to lose to it. So I like that a lot. Of course, we're playing 3 Evenly Match, another phenomenal card that helps us win that resource grind game. It's a must-have card. I can't see putting it out with anything else. And then we have 3 Nibiru. So when you're playing a Dragon Link, you side your Nibiru, you side your Lances off of Nibiru. I personally like to keep my Lances in. I think I take like 1 Lancia away and play 2 Lancias, 3 Nibirus. I might do another video on side decking. It's a big, long video, so if enough people ask, I might do a video of how I side deck, because if you guys watch me when I play on Twitch, check me out right away. Links to be down below on twitch.tv, YGO_Paisano. What I do is when I side deck, it's really fast. And the reason why is because I just basically memorize the entire way to side deck against the entire meta. It's people make like people make like PDFs and things to help them out, and that might help for them. For me, my best thing to do is just constantly do it over and over and over again, side deck wise, to memorize the plays. If I'm going first against X or am I going second against Y deck, and figure out what I need to take in and take out. And if you watch me when I side, it's relatively fast because I pretty much know exactly what I need to do. A lot of people like to play like 2s in their side deck. I, for the most part, as you can see, don't. Besides like Lightning Storm, Harvey Featherster, and that's because I want to maximize consistency of what I'm gonna get. So that's why we do that with the side. All right. So let's go into one of the combos. I feel like, once again, everybody realistically just wants to learn the combo, and the combos are, for the most part, relatively easy with this deck. So we'll go with Magical Meltdown, any Shaddoll monster, ideally Squamata. Let's see, Magical Meltdown, Squamata. Give me 1 second. I'm doing this off the top of my head, so let's say you have something like this, or you add in a dark monster. We'll add 2. We'll add let's add a beast. Actually, no, that'd be too easy. Let's add a dragon. Okay. Let's say you hand something similar to this. You could, I mean, once again, you play enough Shaddolls, you're gonna have variation of Shaddoll monsters. That's not a big deal. You have Shaddoll Fusion or El Shaddoll Fusion. You have 5 of them, or Sewer Poly. That's why you're playing with 4 cards, and then you have Magical Meltdown. So you're probably going, V, what's the best way to do this? Okay. So the ideal turn is Mechaba Schism. That's what you want. With this hand, you're probably going to want to go Mecha. I don't actually know. For this combo, I don't need. Well, I'll just keep these 4 cards because they're used for the rest of these combos. Anyway, Ideally, you want Mechaba Schism. That's what you want. Mechaba on board, Schism set back row. It looks simple, but it does a lot. It makes your opponent overwork for their plays. So we're going to go Magical Meltdown, and we're going to add Alistair. Okay? Normal summon Alistair. Alistair effect is going to allow us to add Invocation to hand. We're going to link away Alistair into... I'll put this in the middle. Okay, we'll link away Alistair into Artemis. There's your Artemis. Alistair goes to Graveyard. And from this point on, you can say Invocation here, right? Well, yes and no. You can go Shaddoll Fusion and get rid of your Squamata and your Maiden, or you could do it... I mean, this is the easier way to do it. We did it in the extra Shaddoll monster, but whatever. You can do it this way, and then you go like Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2. What you really want to send is Schism. So that's the main thing we're going to be sending, because we're going to be getting rid of our constructs soon. So you send Schism, and what I like to do with Chainlink 2 personally is, I like to send Wendy, and then Wendy's effect is going to allow me to set a Hedgehog. And the reason why I love setting Hedgehog is, because let's say our opponent somehow gets through this board, they still have to get through either the possibility of us adding another Shaddoll Fusion to our hand, with Hedgehog, or Shaddoll Trap. I'm more than likely going to add Shaddoll Fusion if they get through my board. Meaning that if they get through me, I'm immediately recurring resources. And that's what this deck's about. Then we got Invocation over here, and the reason why I want Invocation over here now is because we want to protect our Construct, who's going to be going to the graveyard soon. We're going to get rid of Invocation and our Magus, and we're going to go ahead and go into a Mechaba. And then we're going to add the Invocation back in deck, to add Alistair back in hand. Once again, we just immediately record a resource. Next turn we have a play now. See how we did that? One card just became Mechaba, and we set it first. I know that's Invoke basic whatever, but I still think that's insane with this deck. Then we're gonna go Construct by going into Gravity Controller, and then from there we're gonna add Schism to our hand. Now look what we just did right here. Now, ideally, let's say you didn't draw Squamata, you would still have Wendy and Construct in Graveyard. In this instance, we have access to all 3 Shaddolls in our extra deck. The minute we have Wendy, you have Abclone. The minute you have Construct, you have another Construct. The minute you have any Shaddoll monster, specifically a Dark one, you're going to have access to Squamata. So what we're going to do is we're going to set out Schism, and this is our basic play. Once again, it doesn't look like a lot, but you have to break this board and kill me, which almost any deck in the game more than likely cannot do. It's really rare a deck's going to break this board and kill you. It's like 99% of your games, your opponent's not going to want to break your board. He's just going to want to dealing with the board you currently have. So what we have here basically is, on their turn, we have Schism for any 3 Shaddoll monster. Any 3 Shaddoll monster. Abclone, Abclone, and by the way, if you want to show Schism sent, let's say, like Dragon, and then send Squamata, you would use Squamata to instead send, you would use Construct to send Squamata, who would then send Schism due to the fact that I could send a Shaddoll card. So that's also a thing you could do. Anyway, so what this board basically does is, it allows you to set up for next turn, because now you have Alistair, and you have a Shaddoll card that you're going to be able to add to your hand. And by the way, when I mean Shaddoll card, it's not always necessarily Shaddoll Fusion, because if you Schism a bigger Shaddoll monster out and you get rid of it, you're going to add that fusion to your hand. So this is why I say it's really hard to do Shaddoll combo videos like this. This is a basic opening combo, but it's really hard to do Shaddoll combo videos like this, because it's always, you're always responding to what your opponent does. You always got to have information on hand mentally of what your opponent ideally wants to try to do and what you can do to stop them. So it's always touch and go, but if I had to make a baseline combo, this is a combo I would probably make a majority of the time if I can. So that's one way to do the combo. So let's just reset. Let's add this all to our hand. None of this really matters as far as... Okay. Alrighty. Now let's say you're playing against a Shaddoll Mirror match. I have an extra card. Okay. Let's say you're playing against a Shaddoll Mirror match. Okay. So what do? We're going to have... Okay. We'll do it like this. I'm going to ignore the rest of the cards in the hand. This is how you gain advantage in a Shaddoll Mirror match without necessarily doing anything. This is a really cool play. I really like this play a lot. And yeah, let's go over it. Okay. You're going to Shaddoll Fusion. And you're gonna go, let's say, Squamata Hedgehog. It'll be any show. No, let's do Dragon. Let's make life a little harder for ourselves. I like that. Okay, so we got Dragon and we got Hedgehog. Once again, it's Hedgehog or Squamata will get you this play. It's a very simple play. If you're a 2015 Yu-Gi-Oh player, you're gonna know this, and I'll explain why this play is very important. So you're gonna go into window. Notice we didn't put an extra X zone. We don't necessarily really need to go into gravity control of this play, so that's why I'm not doing it. We're going in window. Squamata's going to let us add Shaddoll Dragon to our hand. I mean Beast. Why do I keep saying Dragon? Shaddoll Beast to our hand. What we're going to do then is tribute our window to set a Beast and add Shaddoll Fusion to our hand. Why do we do this? Well, if you're playing a mirror match against another Shaddoll player, they obviously want to resolve the Shaddoll Fusion. This card is insane. This card's free value, right? What you just did was, you took Shaddoll Fusion and those 2 cards in your hand, and you turn it into a beast, meaning your opponent's going to give you immediate value, and you have a Shaddoll Fusion. So if your opponent tries to fusion summon, do anything next turn, you just basically told your opponent, I'm going to fusion summon for free because you let me do it by you trying to extend on board. Not only that, Beast is going to give me advantage for free. Now, of course, somebody's going to go, well, V, if they have Mecha Bud, they could go Mecha Bud and do the negate. Sure, they still have to give you 2 cards in your hand, 100%. So, I mean, what's beneficial? Giving 2 cards in your hand in order to stop these 2 plays, not consuming the rest of the cards in my hand, of course, of also what I'm going to be drawing, or just allowing this to go through and them trying to figure out how they can go into a board state in which they can try to take advantage. Because when you're playing any Shaddoll variant, and once again, I definitely recommend you guys check me out on Twitch, because I play against the majority of Shaddoll variants. You will see, mentally, I'm always playing a tug of war. I'm trying to get advantage as fast as possible, and the minute I get it, I make sure my opponent doesn't get it. You gotta kind of lock them out. If it's Shaddoll, Dogmatica, they're kind of doing our job for us by activating Dogmatica Punishment. Phenomenal card, but they definitely, I feel like it's a horrible exchange in this matchup. If it's a mirror match, you'll see me and my opponent go back and forth, basically figuring out how can we kill each other as fast as possible. Because the minute I overextend and can't kill my opponent, I'm probably going to lose. Or, if I extend it and I can't kill my opponent, if they have a decent hand, which I probably might have, they're probably going to go and punish me really badly for not killing them. So that's why this is another play. Okay, so another thing that I do, and, okay, one thing I'm going to say for the majority of my games, I side out Shaddoll Incarnation. Now that I hate this card, but I feel like if you're going second, this card isn't as good. It's still a great card, though. But here's some plays you can do with Shaddoll Incarnation. I don't feel like a lot of players really understand. Let me get it. What's her name? There we go. Okay. So, and I might put a video footage of me on Twitch showing you guys. Is it video footage? Is that the thing? Or video clip of me on Twitch showing you guys how I go ahead and do these plays. So let's say you're mid-game, and that's the mid game, and you have, okay. No, once again, I'm trying to do this off memory. So majority of the time, what you're gonna try to do is you're gonna try to send Shaddoll to the graveyard to flip any full effect monster that you brought out with Wendy. So if you have a hand of something like this, and let's say that's in your graveyard, you could show a fusion. You could send Wendy and Beast, let's say, and you could go into App Cologne. Where's App Cologne? Okay, App Cologne. And then, I mean, it's a simple play, but everyone kind of forgets about this, so I feel like it's really important. You're gonna draw off whatever, and then actually no, not App Cologne. Yeah, you can do App Cologne. You can draw this and go into Aerial. You get rid of App Cologne, and you go into Gravity Controller. Gravity Controller's effect lets you add and get rid of Shaddoll Incarnation. Now, once again, Aerial set face down. You banish Shaddoll Construct and Shaddoll Incarnation. You flip Aerial lets you special summon. Something that's very simple, but once again, everyone forgets about. A play you'll see me, I don't like that play, to be honest with you, but that is a play that's always in the back of my mind, because, you know, you want to add every single available play that you can make on in the back of your mind, just in case. One play that I do like doing, especially when I go second. So let's say we made an entire board like we did last time with the let's say we made an entire board, but we didn't do Wendy. So what we'll have here is a let's say we brought out Window with Shaddoll Schism. Where's Schism? Brought Window with Schism, did all this jazz. Where's Mechaba? Okay, here's Mechaba. Okay, let's say we pretty much made that entire kind of board. And once again, this is off memory, and this is off just scenarios. So that's the best way to understand is the combos of this deck. You gotta do it in scenarios. You can't really, it ain't like a baseline deck. We have like a baseline opening combo. The board you have turn one for the most part is always changing. So that's very important. There's no like, oh yeah, generic board. Go ahead and it doesn't work that way with this deck. This deck is very different like that. Let's say you have a kind of baseline setup, but you didn't Wendy this turn. So next turn, you draw for your turn, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. And somehow you send Wendy to the graveyard and Wendy and Shaddoll, let's say, and you go ahead and do Hedgehog. I will always, like, the same turn I set a Hedgehog is when I'm trying to flip it by setting Shaddoll. So I'll banish that and Wendy, flip, add Shaddoll Fusion. Ideally, Shaddoll if we're going to be doing it this way. And we're going to try to, once again, start working on killing our opponent as fast as possible. Once again, I know this isn't like 5-hit combo, but it's something that I feel like a lot of players that play this deck need to understand, that Shaddoll Incarnation allows you to activate your flip effect monster that you're set this turn, allowing you to immediately maintain advantage, or immediately go into a game state that is going to put you in a favorable position. And by doing that, you're going to be able to end the game quickly. You're going to be able to look at your opponent, you're going to analyze the current game state. But when I mean analyze current game state, I think I said this before, but I'm always doing this. Once again, check me out on Twitch. This is exactly what I do every single time. The minute I draw a card on my turn, the first thing I ask 99% of my games is how many cards in your hand. Why do I ask that? Well, I want to know how many hand traps they're playing. Oh, well, not even hand traps playing, but I want to know the percentage of the possibility of one of those cards being hand traps. So if they have one card in hand, can it be a hand trap? Sure. Is it likely? No. If they have 5 cards in hand, is it likely they have a hand trap? Oh, you bet they do. The only question at this point is, what hand trap is it, and can you play around it, and what can you do to bait that hand trap out? So by activating cards that you necessarily okay with giving up earlier, and then later on activating better cards like Shaddoll Fusion, which you want to hold, obviously, so it doesn't get hit by Ash, because Meltdown does nothing to that. Anyway, so I do that. Then I analyze the current board, figure out what my opponent has on board. Then I see about the graveyard. I'm just checking, and not, well, again, this is all 2-second stuff. I'm not trying to stall for time. I want to know what's in the graveyard. Majority of the time, I already know what's in the graveyard because I've seen their turn, so you know what's in the graveyard. But just in case, you would see if there's any active abilities that they can do during your turn from the board, and maybe even possibly graveyard. Okay, so once all that's done, then I figure out my way. Can I kill them? Step 2. Can I commit murder? No, more than likely. And if I can, cool, I'll start working on that. But for the most part, you more than likely can't. So then you go to step 3. All right, if I can't kill them that turn, let's enter a resource-based game. Meaning, I want to put them back. I want to clean their board out, or at least put them in a position in which they have to break me up now. They either have to, I'm either going to break their board and put a board up, or I'm going to put a board up so even if they attempt to break my board, in the case of like Shaddoll Window, I'm going to add a Shaddoll card back to my hand. Even because if it's the case of Mechaba, I'm going to have Alistair in hand, so I at least have another chance to do it again. So I'm going to keep putting them on the clock. So that's the kind of weird mentality you got to think of all the time while playing this deck. And once again, it sounds very basic, but if you see my videos on Twitch, on live streams, it's not. It's really difficult. It's really hard, but it's very rewarding at the same time. And I feel like a lot of players that do play this deck, whenever you win, you earn the win. I like that about Shaddolls. But if you make a mistake, well, you'll know almost immediately. The deck will show that you'll definitely feel in the deck that you made a mistake, and more than likely will cost you game. So if you win, you earn wins. You make a mistake, that's GG. But you can learn from those mistakes really quickly, really simply with this deck, which I feel like is the best deck of the format due to the fact that it has so bad matchups. It doesn't have any amazing matchups, but it doesn't have bad matchups. And I like that about this deck. You have an equal chance in almost every single game state, unless they're any Mystic Mind Burn. If they're any Mystic Mind Burn, are they really playing Yu-Gi-Oh? Anyway, guys, I really appreciate you guys watching this video. Thank you, and hopefully this made some sense to you guys. It's all in my head. It's Picasso up here, finger paint down here. I'm trying to make that as best as possible. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. Please make sure to check me out on Twitch. Links will be down below. It's your boy V, Paisanos. Have a great day.